Joining us now, Brad Bolton, the chairman of Community Spirit Bank in Red Bay, Alabama. Is that right, Brad?
I'm the president CEO of Community Spirit Bank, and I'm honored to be the ICBA chairman, which is the Independent Community Bankers of America this year. So certainly honored to serve America's community banks in that capacity.
So community banks, really certainly in Mississippi, and I suspect it's to a great extent the case in Alabama as well, are really the backbone of the banking industry.
Absolutely.
Certainly in the rural areas and in the smaller community areas, not so much the concentrated big cities.
Yes.
I mean, it's the community banks that make it all happen.
You're speaking my language. We represent the only banking presence in 1/3 of all U.S. counties.
Wow.
And during the pandemic, we really shown exactly who we are. We funded 60% of all the PPP loans, saved nearly 50 million jobs nationwide. We funded 72% of all those loans to minority-owned businesses, and we funded 90% of all of those loans whose household incomes were less than $40,000 a year. That's your Schedule C and F borrowers who would have gotten left out of the PPP process if not for community banks. So we truly are the backbone of every main street across this country.
No question about it. I mean, such a big part of the economy, certainly here in the state of Mississippi, for sure. I'm not sure we'd have an economy without those community banks. And so what do you think, Brad, really separates a community bank, say, from a really large-scale national bank with thousands of branches and so forth, who serve their purpose as well and have a role in the industry and in the economy? But what's the differentiator? Do you target different customers, for example?
Not necessarily. I think what differentiates us is our relationship-focused business model. No one does it better than community banks because we truly do. We work, worship, live, and serve with members of our communities every day. We have the relationships with them, and because we do, we're accountable to them.
Yeah.
You'll notice that whenever all these scandals happen at the biggest banks, no one ever is prosecuted personally, right? If we do the same thing and engage in the same activities of creating fictitious accounts, I've got to go look at my fellow citizen in the face at church on Sunday or in the grocery store. So it really comes back to that relationship that we have with our customers that's unlike anything else in the financial services industry.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think it's fair to say that certainly from a business perspective, that a lot of businesses, certainly the small and mid-sized business community, they like to do business with people that are more aligned to them, with them and more tantamount to kind of their philosophy, their culture, their size and scale.
Well, whenever, we all go through changes in our lives, and we all have, economic challenges, either good or bad. And when you're going through those tough times, there's nothing any better than being able to walk in, come to the president of the bank, come to the loan officer of the bank, and have a conversation like you and I are having to say, hey, this is what's going on in my life. What can you do to help me? And every community banker I know embraces that and wants that person to succeed. And so if I'm a small business customer, if I'm a consumer in America, there's no one I want to do business with better than a community bank.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I know community banks are highly focused on employee retention and stability. And that's important because when your customers come in, they like to see that same face they've been doing business with. They don't want to have to reintroduce their entire financial world to somebody new. And so having that continuity is pretty important, isn't it?
It's extremely important. Our bank is blessed with some really longevity employees. My dad's been at our bank for 57 years.
Wow.
I've been there for 26 years. My sister's been there for 40-something years. My other sister celebrated her 25th anniversary yesterday.
Awesome.
I got a loan officer that celebrated his 40-something anniversary this year. So that's who we are as community bankers. And whenever you start working for a community bank, you just see it's just a different culture because of that relationship, because of how we get to invest and truly become a beacon of hope in the communities in which we serve. And customers see that, and they really don't bank with a bank. They bank with that person. And so, coming to this event here is we're trying to train up the next generation of leaders. I'm trying to inspire those future banking leaders who are in school here at Ole Miss to see the value in working for a community bank so that they can carry on the legacy of so many other community bankers have already done so, to have those relationships and to invest back in their communities, because truly the profits that a community bank makes you'll see it right back in the communities in which we serve. Billboards, on annual staff, ads, football stadium signs. That's where we live, and that's where we reinvest. And I think people wants to be a part of that.
We see it all the time. And Brad, is it also fair to say that you try to guide your team, your loan officers in particular, to really establish the kind of relationships that are more not so much, say, a banker to a customer, but really a partner? Yes. In there with that business. I mean, they're by their side, and they're dealing with the same good times and the challenges and trying to work with them.
Absolutely. Whenever you've got a community banker that's invested in you, their success is part of your success.
Sure.
So it is a tandem effort there. And, I want to see every community across this nation continue to flourish with a strong community bank environment there. And, whenever you've got loan officers who are invested with their customers, they're better able to understand their needs. They can analyze their tax returns. And that's truly, we're a value-added partner for that small business, because we can say, well, hey, this is what I'm seeing over here from this industry.
Yeah.
Have you thought about this? And so you can be an advisor to them in addition to their banker.
Yeah, trusted advisor is what we all look for in a business-to-business relationship, for sure, like that, and that's very important. How's business going? What's your economy like in your area and the area that you serve? What are you hearing from your customers? How's it going?
We're very blessed. I serve a $185 million community bank. We serve basically 4 rural counties in northwest Alabama and 2 in northeast Mississippi, Tishomingo and Itawamba counties. And so we're very blessed with a strong industrial footprint in our area. We're home of Tiffin Motorhomes, the Allegro Coach in Red Bay, Alabama. So very proud of that industry, as well as Sunshine Dog Food. That's another one of our industries, and heavy in poultry and agriculture up there as well.
Okay.
So obviously consumers are feeling the stress of high inflation. I'm kind of concerned about the prolonged efforts of high inflation and how consumers are going to be affected by that. We can see right now that credit card portfolios nationwide, they're at an all-time high. That means people are having to swap that card to make ends meet. So I just hope the Federal Reserve is not going too fast, too high, to run us into a slowdown that will affect even more folks. But I understand that they're kind of behind the 8 ball as well to get inflation under control. So, depositors are enjoying a little bit better, higher interest rates on deposits, which they haven't seen really in 10 years.
Yeah, it's been negligible.
Back. Yeah. But overall, I think we're very blessed in both Mississippi and Alabama with a strong economy. And customers still feel optimistic. I'm not seeing really any signs of a slowdown other than some concerns of how much consumers are being squeezed.
Good. That's good to hear. So you've also got, I think, a federal government that is more inclined, the present federal government, to just over-regulate and impose more regulations, in particular on the banking industry. I think, Brad, it's fair to say we kind of dodged the bullet. Wasn't too long ago they were talking about requiring reports of all transactions, right? $600 and up, and that would have imposed a huge burden on your industry.
Well, at ICBA, through the Independent Community Banks of America, we stay focused on the politics of community banking. We can work with both sides of the aisle. That's been our trademark. And what we want to always ensure is tiered regulations that recognize the unique relationship-focused community bank business model. That is our first and foremost priority. And so we do keep a watch out for over-regulation. Last year, whenever we was fighting off the IRS proposal, we launched the Keep My Banking Private hashtag. Rebecca Rainey was on here with
you,
I believe.
Yes, absolutely.
And we sent over 700,000 messages to Congress because of that hashtag that defeated that proposal. So that's where I think that community bankers truly serve as protectors of Main Street every day with stuff such as that. And right now, there's a new one. It's called Hands Off My Rewards. Now, that's a new amendment that is before Congress. It's called the Durbin-Marshall Bill, and it would disrupt credit markets. It's trying to take interchange fees on credit card transactions and put more power and more money in the pockets of big retailers, Walmart, Amazon, name your big retailer. And if it's going to direct the rails that those run off of, and if you've got a card in your pocket that you're used to getting rewards off of, it's going to disrupt that. So my call to action today is to tell consumers to go out and find Hands Off My Reward hashtag. Make sure they tell their member of commerce that, listen, we don't want more power in the hands of big retailers. We want things like they are.
Seems like they always got to meddle, and every time they meddle, they just make things more difficult, and they worsen the environment instead of improving it.
Well, I think the good thing for us is through our reputation as community bankers that is well respected. People listen to us, and they know that we're there to serve customers. You know, overdraft programs is a big issue. Yep. That's a hot button issue, but we believe we're protecting consumers against payday and predatory lenders. So why not
keep it up?
Yeah, why not best to allow us to serve consumers?
Brad Bolton, chairman of Community Spirit Bank, Red Bay, Alabama, and you're also the president of ICBA?
I'm the chairman of ICBA and president of Community Spirit Bank.
Got it. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, Brad. Appreciate it. We'll take a break right here. We're coming back with a segment, and then Greg Cronin, Gulf Coast president of the Citizens Bank. Stay with us.